Mr. Speaker, last May the 30th, the Minister of Agriculture at the time, now the Minister of Finance, said that the government was not concerned about the loss of property values after the Lake Manitoba flood. He said, with respect to the flood, and I quote, "The lessons that we've learned in the past is that property values don't depreciate." The minister could not have been more wrong. I asked the Minister of Finance to admit that he was wrong last May to those around Lake Manitoba who have been so terribly hurt financially and emotionally because of this incredible loss of property values to their properties around Lake Manitoba.
Well, Mr. Speaker, it's not that long ago, in 1997, that the Red River Valley was devastated. Yeah. Manitobans came together, fought that historic flood. They also started planning not just the recovery of the area, but significant improvements in terms of flood mitigation. We had a flood in 2009 that was greater than the 1950 flood, and there was one home that was impacted by water seepage, Mr. Speaker. What we have said with Lake Manitoba is that we were there to fight the flood with the municipalities and the residents in that area. They said, don't forget us, and we brought in the historic outlet that was opened November 1st from Lake St. Martin, Mr. Speaker. And I want to say to the member opposite and say to the residents in and around Lake Manitoba and Lake St. Martin that our commitment is to do exactly what we did in the Red River Valley, to rebuild and to restore confidence. And indeed, that will impact not only on property values, but on what people want, which is hope for the future, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, we have people, as an example, like Darrel and Dee Armstrong, who have worked hard their whole lives farming and in developing an incredible community at Big Point. They have seen tremendous loss in the value of their properties. But they've been told, with respect to this loss in property values, that it is not a component of the Lake Manitoba Financial Assistance Plan program, and thus we cannot estimate nor pay any loss of property value. Instead of trying to help, this government is saying there's nothing we can do about this terrible situation. I ask the Minister of Finance by the flood, instead of putting up every conceivable barrier, every conceivable delay, and every conceivable obstacle.
Order, please. Mr. Speaker, in the historic flood of 1997, we had somewhere around 10,000 claims. We've had 30,000 claims for the flood of 2011, now 2012. Mr. Speaker, the member opposite should recognize that we have already paid out $600 million, Mr. Speaker. And I want to put on the record, by the way, because there's been various comments made about our staff. I had an opportunity to visit with many of them in Portage just a few days ago, Mr. Speaker. I am very concerned that when members opposite, this member included, start talking about staff intimidating flood victims. Our staff, the municipal staff, the people from the various agencies have been working around the clock, Mr. Speaker, since last year for the flood recovery, and we won't stop until we rebuild Lake Manitoba. We won't stop until we rebuild Lake St. Martin and every other affected area of this province. And I hope the member will be part of the solution, Mr. Speaker, in rebuilding this province.
Order, please. Time for all questions has expired.